welcome to another video. Just picked up my bike from service, and this is going to be my 10,000 mile review on it. Ah, she is one strong little bike. But yeah, so I did have one minor issue. I brought it in just for oil change and coolant flush, but it turned out I actually had a bad thermostat. So the thermostat was stuck shut and wasn't letting the coolant flow through the bike. So obviously that caused the bike to overheat pretty much immediately. I mean, I did start to notice it a little bit closer to before I brought it in to have the coolant flushed. Where at stoplights it would get up over, I mean, the fans are tuned to kick on at 195, but at stoplights the thing would get up to 205, 210, sometimes closer to 220, which is weird. And they should be, these things do run hot, but should stay around 185, 190 at a stoplight on a hot day, depending on how long you're there. But yeah, so that started happening. My guy Ivan, shout out as always to Ivan, caught that it was probably the thermostat, and sure enough it was. But the thermostat was only a 30, I think it was like 35 bucks. So it was a $35 part, which was very cheap. But getting to it, he had to take pretty much the whole bike apart, so that was kind of a pain. But she is running very cool now. Even just sitting here at low speed, I'm at 181 where it should be. So she should definitely run a lot better now, and hopefully I never have to do that again. So I don't know if that's a common failure on Yamahas. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced that, but if you are having issues like that, definitely look into it, and hopefully it's as simple as just a thermostat. But other than that, as far as reliability goes, I mean, this bike has been absolutely flawless. Knock on wood, stays that way. But zero issues whatsoever. I've done nothing but, you know, modify the bike and the regular maintenance. I do oil changes as often as I can, or really remember. I try not to let the oil get too dirty. Especially, I mean, most of the people that have these bikes ride them pretty hard, so just keep that in mind. Change your oil early, and every 2,500 miles if you can. I know some people do it even earlier, but and good oil, full synthetic, either AMS oil or Motul, I know is pretty good. But yeah, aside from the regular maintenance, I mean, I have had to do nothing to this bike whatsoever, and it's always worked. I know some people have issues with Yamaha's batteries. Fortunately, I have not. I still have the stock battery. It's been 2 years, 10,000 miles. Well, probably closer to 11 now, but still. Stock battery is always started on the first try. I do leave it on a tender in the winter in my garage, but I had no issues with that. Motor strong as ever. I do have the More Mafia Pops and Banks tune on here, which some people are weary or think it's going to blow your motor, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know how he achieves the Pops and Banks and how bad it is for the bike, but 10,000 or 11,000 miles and the thing is still running very strong. The valves maybe will have to get adjusted sooner than usual because of that tune. Again, I don't know, but I probably will do it early just to be safe. The manual calls for the valves to be done at I believe 24 or 25,000 miles, which is pretty high. That's pretty good, but I'll probably do it closer to, I don't know, maybe as early as 15. That might be too early, but I do not plan on parting ways with this bike ever, so I want to make sure she's healthy. But yeah, mean, going back, would I do it all over again? Still get the R1M 100%. I mean, this bike, every single time I ride it, is just such a good bike. It's so fun. The character of it, the sound, the power delivery. I mean, it's like no other leader bike. And I've ridden pretty much all of them except for the Ducati V4. I've never gotten on a Ducati V4, unfortunately, but definitely do want to try one of those bikes because that's on my list for potential next bikes down the road, or I mean bikes that I would like to add to the garage. But this bike in general, it's just a fun bike. There's no other way to put it. It's playful. You get a lot more of the sensation of speed on this bike than some of the other leader bikes, which can translate to maybe it doesn't feel as stable as some of the other bikes, as planted. You definitely feel a lot through the chassis in this bike, which is, I mean, fantastic on the track. I mean, that's what it was designed for. But yeah, I mean, high speeds on a highway. Some of the other leader bikes are definitely more stable, especially the S1K. I mean, that thing is super planted. Or the H2, but again, that's a much bigger bike. It's got a lot more weight. Oh, this thing's a monster. You really have to give it any throttle and she just wants to take off. But yeah, she is running good. Got fresh oil in her, fresh coolant. It is good to go. Tires are still pretty much brand new on this bike. Got the Super Corsas. But yeah, all in all, I mean, if anyone was looking at this bike or the regular R1, I would highly recommend it. I mean, for the money, it's a lot of bike for the money. The R1M, of course, is a big jump, but I looked into the parts that come on this bike, and just for the carbon fairings alone from the factory, to replace all of them, you're looking at close to $10,000. The electronic Olin suspension to buy from Yamaha would be, again, close to $10,000 for front and rear. So for, I think it's a $8,000 price jump to the R1M, I mean, if those things matter to you, it's definitely worth the value. Oh, I mean, even just there's a little box on the tailpiece that connects to the GPS system that comes with this bike for tracking data at the track and all that good stuff. That alone is $2,500, which was shocking to me. That and the little module. So again, if those things are important to you or matter to you, the R1M is definitely worth the price jump, because you are getting a lot more for your money. Yes, the motor is exactly the same, so you're not, to my knowledge at least, so I don't think you're getting an advantage there, but you get some really nice extras with the bike. The motor does have titanium internals, which I believe is consistent for the regular R1 and the R1M. I know for a fact the R1M has titanium internals, which is really nice. Yeah, this road is beautiful. We just repaved this. Yeah, this thing throws around like a dream. I mean, it's like a 600. This thing is so very narrow, the R1 platform. But if you're looking for a bike that is going to be, you know, the top speed monster, this is not the bike for you. I mean, just go get if you just want to go straight line and be the fastest in a straight line and the highest top speed, go get a H2 or even the Triple R. Triple R is got a lot of power up top. So do the S1Ks when modded correctly too. But if you're looking for a bike that's got a lot of character, it's fun to ride, performs well on track, street, you, this is by far the most engaging beater bike I've ever ridden. And again, I've pretty much ridden all of them. It's just a different experience on this bike than any other bike. You know, so it's not the fastest on top end, but man, I mean, the torque on this thing is just incredible, and the way it delivers that torque, and just the power band in general, it's fun. I mean, you feel it on this bike a lot more. And if you do like track days, or you've got canyons or twisties around you, I mean, the drive out of corners with this bike and all that torque, it's an absolute blast. Future mods or things that I would still like to change about the bike, I do want to do wider clip-ons that come out a little bit further. After riding bikes like the Triple R that have very wide clip-ons from the factory, it just handles completely different. I mean, it turns in more aggressively, you can throw it around a little bit sharper. And I also have very long arms, so it feels a little bit more natural for me in general, just regular riding around town too. So I want to do that. When I do that, I'm probably going to do a billet triple tree, which I think would look nice, add to the silver on the bike. Plus, with aftermarket clip-ons, you're not going to be utilizing these two bolts here, so clean up the look of the top of the bike. Plus the blue titanium against a billet aluminum silver triple tree, I think they look gorgeous. Another common complaint about this bike is the brakes, and unfortunately, yeah, they do kind of suck from the factory. The feel is very squishy and it does not grab very well. So I did do the EBC road race brake pads as well as the Motul fluid flush, which helped a lot. It made a huge difference on this bike. Either when I do the clip-ons and the triple at the end of this season or over the winter, I'm going to do the Brembo RCS 19 or 19 RCS master cylinder. That mixed with the EBC pads, I'll just keep the stock calipers, should make a tremendous difference, both in the braking feel and the actual stopping power of the bike. But yeah, the R1M's already got incredible suspension. It's got the Öhlins electronic suspension, which if you're a Trek-only guy, electronic suspension may not be your first choice, but for someone like me that rides mainly street and occasional track, it's really nice to have, you know, my track settings and my street settings at the switch of a button. Literally just hop in the menu and within seconds change from my track to street settings. So that's really nice for me. And it's good enough. Like, I'm not a pro rider by any means. So it is more than sufficient for both street and track for me. The amount of adjustability I have in the suspension, at least. But yeah, sorry, this has been a lot of talking. I hope I touched on most of the points on this bike. I didn't really plan out what I was going to say or talk about. Just kind of wanted to do this off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, this is an incredible bike. I would absolutely, if I went back 2 years ago to the point where I purchased this bike, 100% I would purchase this bike again. I mean, just everything about it, the looks, the sound, the way it feels, the way it rides. I mean, everything about this bike is just hits all the marks for me. But yeah, probably got another month or so of riding left in this season. I mean, minus the random days here and there that are warm in December. But it's been another incredible season with this bike. If you're thinking about potentially getting this bike, I would highly recommend it. Thank you guys as always for watching. I will catch you in the next video.